Hi everyone, welcome back to GameMaker Cast. It's Mick again, and we're going to be working on Skate or Die. We're going to try and finish off this game so we can move on to some more lessons and more in depth of GameMaker itself. In this video, I want to add the score up to the top, and I'm also going to make it so if our player, for some reason, we can't jump over the chairs, if they go over to the left, that will end the game and stop our score from moving up. Alright, so to get started, in GameMaker, we're going to create two new fonts. We'll call our first font FNT Score, and this is just going to be the actual word score, so let's delete our range, and all we need to do here is type in the bottom score, and then we'll say add range. So the font I'm going to be using is called Oswald, and I'm not 100% sure here if we could distribute this, and that's something that you would have to look up. But for now, since I'm just doing the video, 100% fine. The size I'm going to be using is 36, and I'll just close that out. And I'm going to create another new font, FNT, and I'm just going to call this one Numbers. And in here, I'll delete my range, and then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the digits in here. And the font size I want to use is 48, so that's pretty big. Now the next thing I'm going to be doing is adding a new object into the room here, and I'm just going to call it Object, I'll say UI Score. We're going to start off by adding an event, and we're going to go down to Draw and say Draw GUI. So in here, this is where we're going to draw everything on the screen. So what I like doing is I will say var text equals score, and just note that how we capitalize and lowercase our letters here will depend on what we put in the score here. And I did all uppercase, so we need to make sure that when we put it on the screen that it is uppercase, or else it will not show up. Now that we have our score text, let's also make a variable for the text width, and this will be string width, if I could spell it, of text. And now that we have this information, all we need to do is set some text colors. So we'll say var color text is equal to make color RGB, and I'm going to use 16 all the way across. And then we also have our number, so we'll say color number is going to be make color RGB. In this case, I'll use 64 all the way across. So here we're just making some very gray colors. And next I want to do is set the color for the word score. So I'll say draw set color, and we want color text. And now we're going to set the font, draw set font. And because we're drawing the score, we want FNT font. Sorry, not FNT font, I want FNT score. There we go. Now I can draw this text, and I'll draw it at the X position of 8, the Y position of 12, and then the word is just going to be score, which comes from up here. Now we need to draw out the score itself. So again, we'll draw set color and color number. We'll then set the font, FNT, and we want numbers. And then draw text. And in our case, I want it to set at 155 for an X position, 0 for a Y, and then I'm going to convert the score into a string. Now I've already played with these numbers, so it took a little while to get it looking proper, and that was just basically guessing and running the game, fixing it up, running the game and fixing it up. Okay, now that we have the score UI there, let's make sure that we add it to the room, and we can add it to any one here. Let's actually just make a new layer, and we'll just call this UI, and we will add it into the room here. So we have our UI, and then on another one we have our spawner. So now that that's in our room, the only thing we really need to do is in our player, when our player is created, here at the bottom we'll just say reset score. So let's say score equals 0, and then anytime the player's step function is ran, we want to increase the score by 1. So we'll say plus equals 1. Okay, so let's run this and let's see if this is working. We should have a score at the top left, and it's going. Now, I think I did forget to set the actual font for that, so we'll fix that and then we'll run it again. So let's go to font numbers, and instead of Arial, we will use, I believe it's Osman again. Oswald, that was it. Alright, so now that we have that, if I were to run this again, this is going to look a lot better than what we just had, and everything should be lined up. Alright, now that everything's working, the only thing that I want to do now is if our player goes all the way to the left side here, such as this first chair, I want the score to stop going, but the information here, such as the chairs in our background, to keep continuously go. So what we can do is in our step event, we could just do one check to see if our player is outside of the room. Now remember, in GameMaker, the room to the left is 0, and what we want to do is just make sure that they're at least the sprite width outside. So we could say in here, let's see, we are doing horizontal movement, and in this code here we could just say if x is less than minus sprite width, then we want to say instance destroy. And this is going to work because if we run the game here, our score is being added on our step event. And when the player, once we hit a chair, will start moving towards the left here. We'll just get this chair. And once we go the width of our sprite, our player is destroyed. Therefore, our score is no longer moving, but our chairs are still appearing, our background's still moving, and everything looks just as is. So in the future, we could have a little game over menu here where they could click a restart button. Now, I think this is a good spot to end this video. We have our UI working, we have our player moving forward. If he can't get over an obstacle, he'll move left and he'll end here. The next video, let's introduce a couple more obstacles, maybe one where it's pretty hard to jump over that obstacle. Just, we don't want our player to be able to do things simple. We want to make it a little more fun and exciting. And then we'll get into adding a main menu and a game over menu and continue menu. For now, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.